On her 5th birthday, Tim asked his daughter what she wanted as a present. She replied, "I want you to divorce Mom." Tim's smile froze. "Don't be silly," he said. "Mommy and Daddy aren't going to split up." My daughter shook her head. "Dad, you turned down a 5 billion yuan contract for Aunt Alma and even got down on one knee for her. I'm so touched. Go ahead and divorce Mom, be brave and pursue your true love." Tim frowned at me, his tone tinged with reproach. "I made you my wife, made you bear my child, and this is how you teach her?" "No, I never taught Dana to say that." I spoke calmly as I cut her a slice of cake. "Dad, it was my own idea. I just wanted to make you happy." Dana looked at Tim with an adult expression, analyzing the situation with perfect logic. "Dad, I've never seen you treat any woman this well, except for Aunt Alma. TV shows say this is how scumbag men act with their mistresses, the kind of behavior that deserves rotten eggs thrown at them." "Wha, Daddy, I don't want you to become a jerk and get pelted with rotten eggs. Why don't you divorce Mom and go live with Aunt Alma?" Tim's face flushed with embarrassment, and his smile faded away. "You think so too?" "That's right." Seeing my daughter's encouraging gaze, my tone grew firmer. "I truly want a divorce." He tried to appear calm and collected in front of our daughter, then sighed slowly and said to me, "Enough. Don't talk nonsense in front of the child. Didn't I come over to celebrate your birthday with you? Fanny, don't ruin this family of 3 we've worked so hard to build." I sent Dana back to her room, so now it's just Tim and me in the living room. He pulled a box from his pocket as if presenting a treasure, then lifted an exquisite diamond necklace. "Don't be mad, I brought you a gift too. Shall I help you put it on?" I recognized the necklace. It was the same style Alma had flaunted in her social media posts. After accompanying Alma on a 10-day European tour, he couldn't even be bothered to put a little thought into buying me a gift when he returned. It just goes to show, when you don't love someone, spending even a second on them feels like a waste of your life. If he doesn't come back for his daughter's birthday, she'll be happier. Dana had already planned to invite her classmates over for a party at home. I had prepared the cake, balloons, and all sorts of tasty snacks for them in advance. But as soon as Tim came home, he shooed them away. He didn't like having so many unfamiliar kids in the house. He found them too noisy, triggering his migraines. Dana and I had grown accustomed to his sour moods. I didn't want Tim's presence to ruin my daughter's friendships with her friends, so I had to smile and call each of their parents to apologize. Tim thought his appearance was the best birthday gift for my daughter. He just doesn't understand that for a kid Dana's age, having Dad show up on her birthday isn't nearly as exciting as singing "Happy Birthday" with her best friends. "I don't need a necklace. I just need you to sign the divorce papers." "Enough. You're a mother now, can't you stop throwing childish tantrums?" He snatched the box back with a touch of irritation, his eyes glazing over like a sheet of ice. "I've done nothing to wrong you, so I refuse to agree to a divorce." I lifted my gaze to meet his eyes, looking straight into the depths of his pupils. Just then, Tim's phone vibrated. He glanced at the WeChat message, then turned to me with a cold expression. "I have to step out for a company matter," he said. "You stay home and think things through." Watching his hurried retreat, I smiled silently. It wasn't company business at all, clearly just Alma's late-night summons. I was about to tell my daughter a bedtime story when she suddenly took my hand. "Mommy, do you really want to divorce Daddy?" But sweetie, this is grown-up business. You just need to go to school every day like a good girl." "Mom, I hear other kids' dads listen to their wives, carry their bags, and cook for them, but Dad has never treated you that way." Dana's little face scrunched up. "Kids can sense whether Mom and Dad love each other. I know you love Dad, but he doesn't love you as much. But Mom, I've noticed you don't love him much anymore either. So I want to help you." Hearing my daughter's words, the last shred of worry in my heart vanished. Back in the room, Alma sent me a few photos. They were of Tim's back and profile in a bathrobe. Alma, meanwhile, stretched out her snow-white legs and lay lazily on the bed, scrolling through her phone. Fanny, you'll never beat me. Boring. I saved each photo one by one. You practically handed them to me yourself. The next day. Tim pushed open the door, looking exhausted in last night's suit. I blocked his path as he headed upstairs and handed him the documents without preamble. Just sign it. What? What else could it be? The divorce agreement. I said flatly. Tim tore the contract into shreds and shouted angrily, I refuse. Fanny, are you even capable of being a mother? Our daughter is so young, and you want to divorce me? Do you want her to be mocked by her entire class? The moment he mentioned our daughter, I flew into a rage. How dare you lecture me on motherhood? Are you even a decent father? Where were you when Dana was sick? You were vacationing in France with Alma. What were you doing when Dana had her parent-teacher conference? You were taking Alma to an art exhibition. She's 5 years old now, yet the days you've spent by her side are few and far between. For us, me and her, it makes no difference whether you're here or not. Tim knew he was in the wrong, but he refused to admit defeat. That's no reason for you to divorce me. I'll change my ways. I'm just too busy, there's really nothing going on with Alma. Can you stop bringing up divorce every single day? Besides, you don't have a job, are you really going to fight me for custody? I pulled out another copy of the contract from my bag and said calmly, I'm perfectly capable of providing for my daughter. Besides, at Dana's age, she'll definitely be awarded to her mother. You, an unfaithful man, think you have the right to fight me for custody? Tim snatched the divorce papers from me again, tearing them up as he yelled, how many times do I have to tell you I never did anything to betray you? What more do you need to believe me? I let out a cold laugh, picked up my phone, opened the photo album, and showed him the pictures Alma sent me along with our chat history. Tell me, if I were to post these photos online, would anyone believe you and Alma are innocent? If not for your company's stock price, shouldn't you at least consider Alma's reputation? She's a rising star in the music industry right now. If a scandal breaks, will those concerts even go ahead? Tim stared at me for several seconds. Fanny, you know I hate being threatened. But I don't love him anymore. What does it matter if he hates me even more? I developed feelings for Tim back in high school. That was right after my parents divorced. Mom quickly started a new family, and Dad went abroad for work. Neither of them wanted to deal with me. I went to school, came home, ate, and slept all by myself. One day, I nearly arrived late because my alarm clock broke. It was Tim who suddenly caught up with me from behind, offering to drive me to school. The faint scent of laundry detergent from his thin-shouldered school uniform lingered in my nostrils all the way there. That early summer morning, Tim rode his bicycle with me along the tree-lined path. For the first time, I wished the road to school could stretch on a little longer. That way, my dream could linger a bit longer before I awoke. Alma soon found out about Tim giving me a ride that day. They were the golden couple everyone envied at school, childhood sweethearts from equally well-off families. Everyone said they'd get engaged once they got to college. Alma came looking for me after all. I warned you to stay away from Tim, he'll never like you. I never imagined I'd become someone close to Tim. Quietly wishing him well, watching him thrive from afar, that's enough for me. Shortly after the college entrance exams, Tim's family went bankrupt. His father couldn't handle the pressure and suffered a fatal heart attack. The family was left with massive debts, and factory workers came to their home every day demanding payment. Alma saw Tim become a homeless dog overnight, so she decided to give up on the relationship and choose to study abroad. On the night she left, Tim stood outside her door, soaked by the rain all night long. Yet even that couldn't make Alma turn back. On the other side, the creditor wouldn't let him off the hook. He threatened Tim that if he didn't repay the debt within 3 days, he'd chop off his hand. The proud young man couldn't bear such humiliation and bluntly told him to go ahead and take his life if he dared. I knew Tim's family had been worried about him ever since the incident at home. When everyone else returned to school to retrieve their records, he was nowhere to be seen. Filled with dread, I tracked down Tim's home address. To my shock, upon entering, I found him lying unconscious on the bed, still clutching a bottle of sleeping pills. After Tim was revived in the hospital, I went to see him. "I believe you'll pull through, Tim. I'll be right here with you." Hearing this, Tim slowly lifted his gaze and looked at me. His voice was calm and gentle. "Silly girl, why are you staying with me? To suffer? I'm not afraid of hardship." The next moment, Tim pulled me into his arms. In that instant, I thought spring had arrived. I laughed dismissively. "I'm already planning to divorce you. Do you really think I care whether you hate me or not?" I pulled another document from my bag. "Sign it. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I might do to your first love." Tim gripped the pen and signed his name heavily on the paper. Satisfied now, he spat, flinging the divorce papers in my face before slamming the door behind him. Seeing him in this pathetic rage, I couldn't have been more satisfied. After he left, I immediately packed up his belongings. Clothes, books, daily necessities, everything from his daily notebook to the socks he'd worn just once. I packed it all up and had it moved to the villa's entrance. This house was his way of making amends after he caused me to lose my first child during his startup venture. Now that my daughter is with me, it's undoubtedly his turn to move out. By the time I finished all this, I realized it had grown completely dark. Just then Tim called me. "Fanny, what the hell are you playing at? Why'd you change the door code? And why's all my stuff piled outside?" I just smirked. "Oh, so what? I can change my own door code however I want. You just give me the password, and I'll pretend this never happened." His tone was tinged with impatience. "Sorry, but the property deed is in my name, and you've already signed the divorce agreement. So this place has nothing to do with you now. I've already packed up those things for you. I was going to drop them off at the office, but I didn't want you to suffer social embarrassment in front of too many people, so I left them at the door instead." "You're welcome, it's the least I can do as your ex-wife." Just then, I heard Elma's voice crack with fury beside me. "Tim, you actually gave her the house? Are you out of your mind?" Tim gave a faint nod. "She's a penniless woman, marrying you is the greatest fortune she could ever hope for. Just give her some pocket money to keep her quiet. There's no need to hand over the best property in the entire city. Fanny is just too greedy. She only gave birth to a daughter for you. Does she really deserve this house? She's clearly out of her league. Karma will catch up with her sooner or later. But the one who'll get karma's revenge is probably you." I opened the door and looked at Tim and Alma with a faint, mocking smile. "Alma, you abandoned Tim when he was at his lowest. I was the one who stood by him from having nothing to achieving success today. How am I not worthy of this house?" I snorted coldly. "You, on the other hand, destroyed my family and still covet the house. Watch out for divine retribution." Alma, enraged and humiliated, raised her hand to slap me. Tim quickly stepped in front of me, taking the blow for me. Alma felt a pang of heartache and reached out to touch his face. "Tim, does it hurt?" Tim covered her hand and shook his head softly. "It doesn't hurt." I couldn't be bothered to watch their sappy display. Just then, their daughter came running over. She looked at them both with an innocent expression. "Wow, Dad and Aunt Alma look so perfect together. Just like the leads in a TV drama." Alma's eyes sparkled with delight, and the corners of her mouth turned up slightly. "Really? Which show is that?" Dana looked pensive and said in a babyish voice, "It's something called Temptation at Home, about a jerk and his mistress." "Auntie, you look just like that mistress in the show." "Hey, Auntie Alma, do you know what mistress means?" Alma's face flushed crimson as she pointed at her daughter and screamed, "You ill-mannered little brat. What kind of upbringing did your mother give you?" Before she could finish, I slapped her across the face. "Who do you think you are to criticize my daughter? You dare hit me? I'll fight you to the death." Alma was about to storm toward me in a rage. "Enough." Tim grabbed her arm and barked at her. "Go back first. I'll talk to you later." Alma shot me a resentful glare, stomped her foot, and turned to leave. Tim's expression was complicated. Fanny and Alma are already in the past. My feelings for her are purely those of a friend looking out for her. Haven't you always wanted a family of your own? I've already given you that. What more do you want from me? Give me a home? As if he hadn't gotten anything out of this marriage. Looking back to that summer after the college entrance exams, Tim decided to regroup and revive his family's clothing company. He sold his family home to barely cover the workers' wages. But he lacked the capital to start a business, so I sold the old house my parents left me to fund his venture. To help him, I gave up my original plan to study advertising and chose fashion design instead. During our leanest days, we lived in a basement less than 20 square meters. We ate discounted bread from the supermarket at night and worked through the hours together. After graduating from college, Tim opened his own studio. I poured every ounce of my energy into his business. I didn't even realize I was pregnant until I fainted from working overtime and suffered a miscarriage. By then it was too late for regrets. Later, he began expanding his business. From a sole proprietorship to a company, then to a publicly listed firm. Gradually, he needed me less and less in his career. Let me go home and properly care for our hard-won daughter. I thought he truly cared about me. That was until 2 months ago when I went to his office to celebrate our anniversary together. I overheard him discussing my name with his friend. Tim, who do you think would make a better wife, Fanny or Alma? My first thought was absurd. Did he think this was a harem selection? But then I couldn't help but wonder what Tim would say. Tim's voice held a hint of seriousness. Fanny, I guess. The unease in my heart eased slightly, then I heard him add, Fanny's an excellent cook, a capable homemaker, and she bore me a child, a devoted wife and mother. And Alma? His friend asked him. Tim said with a hint of regret, Alma was spoiled from childhood, and I couldn't give her what she wanted back then. Besides, Alma doesn't like children, but I need an heir, so I'll choose Fanny instead. I don't know why, but when I heard him treat me like a breeding machine, like a free babysitter, my heart ached terribly. I desperately wanted to confront him and demand to know if he'd ever truly loved me all these years. Yet I felt as though I'd lost all my strength and courage. I just wanted to find a quiet corner to hide away, alone with my wounds. That night, Tim took me to a fancy restaurant to celebrate our 5th wedding anniversary. I accepted his gifts, hugs, and kisses as if nothing were wrong. To give my daughter a complete family, I tried to convince myself to carry on as usual. But when I actually tried, I realized I couldn't. The small flaws that appear in a marriage won't be covered up by the passage of time. I began to confront the reality of my marriage to Tim. It could exist without love, without mutual benefit, but it could not exist without respect. I knew my daughter was a bright child. She could sense the absence of her father's love in her journey of growing up. Fortunately, she gets double the love from me, so she supported my decision. I redrew the designs and launched a new Chinese-style women's clothing online store with my best friend. Riding the wave of the national trend boom, the store began to gain some recognition online. My friend even expanded it to a physical store. Many distinguished ladies have sought me out to design their cheongsams for formal banquets. Tim assumed I was merely killing time with my girlfriends. Little did he know I'd already made a name for myself in the industry once again. He now has a large team of seasoned designers and no longer needs me in his career. And I don't need him either. As long as you carry talent within you, hope can blossom anywhere. I just want a divorce. I said coldly. Nothing happened between me and Alma. What more do you need to believe me? Tim couldn't help but punch the wall, his fist immediately oozing a trickle of blood. What the hell are you doing losing your temper in front of the kids? I'm telling you my patience is running thin. Be at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow at 8 a.m. to get our divorce papers. If you refuse, I'll file for divorce in court. Once it blows up and the media finds out that popular singer Alma is the other woman in someone else's marriage, do you think she'll be slammed by netizens until she quits the industry? If any reporters come knocking on my door, I can't guarantee I won't show them those photos of you and Alma together. You've gone too far. Tim's eyes widened with fury, and he seemed ready to say more. I slammed the door shut, refusing to waste any more breath on him. The next day, Tim showed up punctually at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I knew his reputation mattered most to him, so the divorce proceeded remarkably smoothly. Since I was still raising our daughter, he left the house to me. As for the equity dividends and company income, the lawyer also drafted an agreement for us. Regarding the division of assets, Tim raised no objections to my demands. When I received the divorce certificate, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I was free. Tim saw the look of relief on my face and felt a pang of unease. Fanny, are you really this happy about our divorce? You once said your greatest wish in life was to have a home of your own, yet you've destroyed this home with your own hands. I recall when my parents divorced during high school. Soon after, they each started new families. I was bounced back and forth between them like a ping-pong ball. One Chinese New Year, my mom promised I could go to my uncle's house to help her make dumplings. Later, my uncle's son suddenly returned from abroad, and there wasn't enough room in the house. Mom told me to go to Dad's place after dinner. You'll come pick up Fanny later, right? It's not convenient here. Didn't we agree? She's only supposed to come over in 8th grade, why the rush? Anyway, it's not happening today. If you don't come, I'll just take her myself. Even if you did come, it wouldn't matter, no one's home. I'm taking my wife back to her parents' place. They started arguing on the phone again. How ridiculous. I clearly have parents, yet I feel like a homeless orphan. Later, I returned home alone. The taste of loneliness was unbearably painful, especially during the season when every household was lit up and families gathered together. Back then, I kept wondering when I could find a man I loved, marry him, and have a lovely child. Amidst the night's lights, there would be one that belonged to me. Only now do I understand. Home isn't something others give you. My longing for a home stems from how desperately I've yearned for that lost warmth. But a man who doesn't love you, even if he gives you marriage, can never give you the feeling of home. As long as I feel at ease in my heart, being alone can be home. Not to mention I still have Dana. I tucked away the divorce papers and said flatly, finished? Tim, seeing my coldness, deflated like a punctured balloon. Fanny, don't talk to me like that. I ignored him and got straight into the car. After divorcing Tim, I officially started working at the Cheongsam shop I opened with my best friend. My job keeps me pretty busy, but thankfully my daughter is very well behaved, which makes things much easier for me. Dana usually stays with me, but every other week Tim picks her up to have dinner with him. If it weren't for Dana, I'd have blocked Tim by now. He seems to be using her to remind me he exists. Last time, he called me shortly after Dana went home with him. Fanny, I want to cook for Dana, but I'm worried she might get an upset stomach. Could you tell me what she's allergic to? I chewed on my homemade salad, suddenly at a loss for words. Dana isn't mute, you can ask her yourself. Tim realized he was being a bit silly and added, I was worried the kids might not remember, so I wanted to double-check with you. Just then, his daughter piped up in her childish voice, Daddy, I'm allergic to seafood just like you. Didn't you know? Dana's already 5 years old, and you, her father, don't even know what she's allergic to? I can tell you don't care about your child at all. Just send her back here. With that, I hung up the phone. A few days later, he came by again to pick Dana up for dinner. After helping Dana into the car, he walked over to me, Fanny, it's my birthday today. Would you like to join us for dinner? No, thank you. Fanny, must you be so distant with me? Tim frowned, his eyes betraying hurt. We're just exes, I see no reason to get close to you. I looked at him calmly, Tim, I've never stopped you from seeing the kids, but please don't use Dana to harass me. Tim's eyes widened as he lowered his voice, afraid his daughter might hear. I didn't use Dana. In my heart, the three of us have always been a family. It was you, Fanny, you abandoned our home. You threatened me with Alma to make me leave you. I looked at him with amusement. If you didn't care about Alma, how could I possibly use him to threaten you? Men always find all sorts of excuses for their mistakes. Yet they never admit it's their fault. Tim got back into the car, and Dana shook her head with a sigh. Dad, it's way too late for you to be playing this game of chasing after her now. Dana, you'll help Dad, right? Dana kept her head down, playing a little game on her tablet, and said without a care in the world, I'll help whoever Mom likes. Since you're my own dad, I'll let you in on a little secret. Tim looked curious and motioned for her to continue. The thing is, Mom has so many admirers, handsome uncles are always asking her out to dinner. The dates are booked all the way to France. Tim froze in shock, his grip on the steering wheel tightening. He couldn't believe Fanny had already found someone new so quickly. She had loved him so deeply. Dana must have said it on purpose to make him jealous, to make him feel insecure. He thought he'd quickly adjust to life without Fanny. That day, when he was sick, he suddenly craved the shredded chicken congee Fanny used to make. Yet the housekeeper had clearly asked Fanny for the recipe. Still, the taste was nothing like Fanny's. When Alma saw he hadn't eaten due to his illness, she volunteered to make him some congee. She nearly burned the house down in the process. In that moment, he seemed to realize the place Fanny held in his heart. She was like air, invisible and intangible in everyday life. Yet without her, his existence felt utterly flavorless. That night, he called Fanny while drunk. Where's the hangover remedy at home? I'm wasted and can't find it. The voice on the other end of the line was utterly dismissive. Are you out of your mind? How am I supposed to know that's your house? Then she hung up without a second thought. Tim's heart sank. He stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep for a long time. My daughter's kindergarten held a parent-child sports day. The earlier events went smoothly. I was always pretty good at sports back in my school days. We won first place in everything: parent-child jump rope, blindfolded feeding, tug-of-war. Only the final event was the three-legged race. Dana glanced around at her classmates with a hint of disappointment. She still found time to reassure me, it's okay, Mom. We've won so many times already. It's fine if they get this last game. I don't really care about winning anyway. I feel a bit sorry. If it weren't for the rule requiring 3 people to compete, I would have done everything in my power to help my daughter win the championship. I wonder if I could join your team for the competition? A clear, resonant male voice came from behind. Great. Handsome uncle, thank you. Dana called out sweetly. My name is Hank. Hank smiled kindly and walked slowly toward us. Hello, I'm Fanny, Dana's mom. After a brief chat, I found out he was actually Dana's classmate's uncle. Her classmate had already given up after losing a few matches earlier. Now they're pinning their hopes on us. Dana, you guys absolutely have to win. My uncle is really good. Well, thanks, Joe. My daughter gave a little nod with her head. She's got quite the competitive streak, just like me when I was little. Such a lively little girl. That's great. Hank really did what his nephew said he would. He helped us win the game with ease. My daughter won first place in the kindergarten parent-child sports day just as she'd hoped, and she even got 5 little red flowers. She was over the moon with joy. At lunchtime, I suggested we grab a bite together to thank her. I heard you're a designer at a cheaphow boutique. Would you be able to design a dress for me to wear to a dinner party? Hank added, it's a gift for an elder in the family. She really loves traditional Chinese-style clothing. My bestie is a social media influencer with millions of followers and a killer figure. Paired with her internet-savvy video edits, our shop instantly went viral. Now clients booking me for custom gowns have to schedule appointments 3 months in advance. But since he entered his daughter in the competition, I've decided to give him the courtesy. Sure. However, it might require you, as her guardian, to come to the store in person. I'll need to take her measurements before we can proceed to the next step. That's wonderful. She'll be thrilled when she hears the news. Shall we connect on WeChat? Hank's eyes brimmed with gratitude. Clearly he held this elder in high regard. He was talkative yet knew when to hold back. By the end of the meal, just as I was about to pay, I was told the bill had already been settled. When did you pay the bill? Didn't we agree I'd treat? Hank gave a carefree smile. Making a lady pay on the first date? That's not my style. I wasn't sure whether to ask him to return the favor next time. But this back and forth would probably never end. As a divorced single woman, I know exactly what this means. You've agreed to let me cut in line and help design my aunt's dress. Consider that meal my way of saying thank you. Hank's smile was like a warm spring breeze. Don't worry about paying me back, we're even as it is. We were about to head to the kindergarten to pick up the kids when a commanding figure pushed his way between us. It was Tim. He looked Hank up and down. What's your relationship with him? None of your business. I'll respond. You're the mother of my child. Tim said coldly. Need me to explain? Hank asked kindly. It's fine, just an ex-husband. Tim followed me all the way home to pick up our daughter. Once she was inside, I noticed he was still lingering at the door. Fanny, who is that guy? Let me tell you, Dana only has one dad, me. I don't know where he got this sense of crisis. Whether I remarry or not, he'll always be Dana's biological father. Tim, I've never once stopped you from seeing the kids. I reached out to close the door, but he suddenly raised his hand to block it and got caught in the hinge. The pain contorted his face. Fanny, it hurts so much. He was trying to play the victim card like he used to, hoping to soften my heart. I looked at him with disdain. Tim, don't play that game with me. At that moment, the composure in his eyes was suddenly replaced by a flicker of panic. Then his phone rang urgently. Tim pressed the button to silence it, his expression slightly unnatural. But it rang again almost immediately. I knew it was Alma calling. He answered anyway. Alma's demanding voice came through the phone. Tim, where have you been? Didn't we agree you'd come to my concert? I went to pick up Dana. Dana again. Who's more important to him, her or me? Alma's voice was a bit aggressive. She's my daughter, could you please stop being so unreasonable? I didn't realize you were such a doting daddy's girl. Is it because of Dana that you refused to marry me? Tim, I really misjudged you. Tim frowned deeply, unsure how to soothe Alma's emotions. She had always been like a flower that understood his words, bringing him comfort. Yet now, why did she make him feel so weary? Tim still wanted to say something to me. But I had completely lost interest and patience in listening to his nonsense. With a loud slam, I shut the front door behind me. Rather than waste time arguing with my ex-husband, I'd much rather spend more time sketching design drafts. A career is far more loyal than any man. As long as you put in the effort, it will never betray you. My daughter is missing. The teacher told me she was picked up by a woman claiming to be Tim's friend. I immediately guessed it was Alma. Why would she do this? Tim came looking for me as soon as he heard. He still seemed completely unfazed. Don't worry, Alma wouldn't hurt Dana. I just called her, but no one answered. She's probably playing with the kids and didn't hear it. I slapped him across the face, my anger boiling over. When will Alma and Dana ever get along? When you say things like that, do you even consider Dana your daughter? I'm calling the police. No. Tim shouted at me, don't call the police. Alma is a public figure. If this blows up after she calls the police, she won't be able to survive in this circle. I stared at him in disbelief, feeling like the man before me was a complete stranger. It's one thing for him to look down on me. But Dana is his daughter. How could he not care about Dana's safety at all? Get lost. I'm telling you, if anything happens to Dana, I won't just make Alma pay, I'll make you pay too. With that, I grabbed my phone to call the police. Tim snatched my phone with bloodshot eyes. I said we can't call the police, so we can't. I protested. Dana will be fine, why won't you trust me? Seeing him fight tooth and nail to protect Alma, my rage boiled over. I delivered a hard kick straight to Tim's knee. He instantly dropped to one knee, his phone slipping from his grasp. Just then, Tim's assistant rushed in. "Tim, we've located Miss Alma. She's at the resort with Miss Dana." I immediately drove straight to the resort. Along the way, I prayed to heaven 1,000 times, hoping Dana was safe. But when I had someone open Alma's room, the scene that greeted me made my eyes bulge in horror. Alma had one hand clamped around Dana's throat while raising the other to slap her face. Rage and heartache flooded my entire nervous system. I lunged forward instantly, yanked Alma's hair backward, then kicked her hard to the ground. I immediately scooped Dana into my arms, carefully checking her for injuries. "Mommy, you finally came to save me." Aunt Alma was mean, she tried to hit me, wah. Alma stood up angrily. "What nonsense are you spouting, you little brat? I haven't even laid a finger on you yet, okay? And Fanny, you actually dared to hit me? You think I won't?" I turned and slapped her across the face. "Go ahead, try it." 5 crimson marks instantly appeared on Alma's face as she lunged at me in a fit of fury. "What are you doing?" Tim burst into the hotel room, panting. He stared at Alma, shock evident in his eyes. "Alma, why did you take Dana?" "Tim, I really didn't mean any harm." Alma immediately squeezed out a few tears and spoke softly, "You've always refused to propose to me. I guess it must be because Dana won't accept me. That's why I specifically brought her out to spend a few days with her, hoping to bond with the child. But who knew she actually seems to really dislike me. She even broke my makeup." I just got angry in the heat of the moment and scolded her. Alma raised her right hand in a gesture of swearing. "But I really didn't hit her." Fanny stopped me before I could lay a finger on her. "She's so uncivilized, attacking me without a second thought. And Dana follows her around. Does she even act like a proper young lady? She'd be better off learning from me. Who do you think you are? My daughter is not someone you can discipline." I snapped coldly, wishing I could slap her again. Tim glanced at his daughter apologetically. "Dana, come to Daddy." She shook her head. "No. You're in cahoots with that nasty lady." I picked up my daughter and prepared to go home. Tim tried to follow, but I stopped him with a cold command. "Tim, keep your woman and stay away from my daughter from now on." Alma didn't bother Dana again after all. She had more pressing issues to deal with. Her repeated lip-syncing and slacking off during concerts were exposed by numerous professional musicians. The incident quickly became a trending topic. Some have questioned whether the muted version of the musician's performance is fake. After all, if Alma were truly lip-syncing, how could every concert ticket sell out? At this point, someone claiming to be an employee of the Shin Group stepped forward to speak. "Our boss treated us to Alma's concert, and the entire company went together. From top to bottom, including the factory and all, our company has over 5,000 employees, and they paid for everyone's tickets to Alma's concert. Honestly, Alma's concerts are either lip-synced or full of off-key notes. Listening to them nearly gave me depression. But what can you do? Skipping the concert meant staying late at the office, so I just gritted my teeth and went." Many people are speculating about Alma's relationship with the boss of the Shin Group. How else could she get the entire company to play along with her performance? I sent the photos Alma had previously sent me, along with the video of Tim being spotted attending Alma's concert, to a veteran entertainment reporter. Soon, a hashtag called #AlmaCanaryWantsToBeA shot to the top of the trending list. Netizens quickly dug up Alma's relationship with Tim, including their past high school romance and how Tim later married me. Alma abandoned Tim when he was at his lowest, and now she's regretting it? But he's already married. This is just so unethical. I was wondering how Alma, with her lackluster professional skills, she even lip-syncs at galas, could possibly pull off a concert. Turns out she's got Tim backing her up. But Tim's employees are just so unlucky, they work like dogs all day, then have to sit through Alma's lip-syncing after hours. That paycheck is pure compensation for emotional distress. Tim saw an increasing number of netizens criticizing him. He began hiring people to delete posts and take down videos online. But the more he tried to silence them, the more rebellious they became. He was forced to have his company's official Weibo account issue a legal notice, declaring he would sue those spreading rumors for defamation. But this tactic no longer intimidates savvy netizens. After all, even if you win a defamation lawsuit, it doesn't prove you didn't do it. I decided to stir the pot a bit. Soon enough, someone dug up my Weibo posts and discovered I had already flaunted my divorce certificate 2 months prior. Moreover, I even liked a post on the trending list written by some marketing account about how Alma was destroying my family. In an instant, Alma and Tim were thrust into the center of the public opinion whirlwind. Alma's concert was clearly no longer viable. Tim also didn't dare to cover for her at this juncture. All her promotional events have been cancelled. Netizens are flooding her Weibo comments demanding, "Come out and respond." She stormed into my studio. "Fanny, is that you? You're jealous that Tim's boosting my career, so you're trying to ruin me. You're such a spiteful woman, no wonder you can't keep a man." Watching her hysterical state, she looked just like a concubine banished to the cold palace, and I couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction. "Has Tim never once mentioned marriage to you? Won't he even admit you're his girlfriend?" Alma was hit where it hurt and snapped at me, her defenses crumbling. "Don't you dare try to drive a wedge between Tim and me. He just wanted to surprise me, he wasn't ready yet." I curved my lips and spoke calmly. "Do you really think Tim still loves you? He's only staying with you because he can't let go of the humiliation of being abandoned by you all those years ago. If he'd truly moved on, why wouldn't he marry you?" "Impossible. Impossible." Alma raised her hand in anger and slapped me across the face. I shifted my body slightly, and she lunged forward, grabbing at thin air before crashing flat onto the ground. "Fanny, you dare hit me?" I slowly crouched down, locking eyes with her. "Wrong. That was your own carelessness. Now, as you wished." Then I swiftly swung at her face. Alma lunged at me in a rage when Tim suddenly appeared and stepped in front of me. "Enough, Alma. You go back first. I'll handle this." Reluctantly, Alma warned him, "Tim, you better make sure you deal with her properly for me." Tim had his secretary take Alma away. His eyes were dark and puffy, his beard unkempt. He seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. "Fanny, do you hate me?" "Not that much." I added, "I hate you very, very much." Tim was at a loss. "Why? Wasn't Dana hurt? Why did you treat Alma and me like that?" "Not all harm is visible to the eye. After Dana returned, she had nightmares every night and was afraid to be alone. The psychologist said she might have autistic tendencies." "I'm sorry, I didn't know." I snorted coldly. "Of course you didn't know, you were too busy rekindling your old flame with Alma to care about your daughter." "I didn't. Nothing happened between me and Alma. In my heart, you and Dana are the ones I care about most. Do you even believe your own words? Get out. I want to see Dana. Get lost." My words became a thorn in Alma's heart. She couldn't wait to try every possible way to get Tim to marry her. She wanted to prove that Tim wasn't with her just to get revenge for her betrayal back then. She even lowered herself and proposed to Tim. Before Tim could even respond, a black man arrived with a mixed-race boy, confronting Alma. He accused her of abandoning her husband and child, demanding she return with them. Alma wept as she told Tim she didn't know the man or the boy, the child wasn't hers. The black man insisted on a paternity test. Tim agreed. The results confirmed Alma was indeed the child's mother. Somehow, this incident ended up online. People dug up her past, how she'd married a black man abroad and had a child. Later, she grew tired of her husband's laziness and gluttony, so she secretly slipped back home. For a time, this further tarnished Alma's already poor reputation within the industry. She was blacklisted. I've already made Alma pay the price. So there's no need to dig up her dirty laundry overseas. Alma must have figured it out. She stormed straight into Tim's office and had a huge argument with him. What happened after that, I don't know. Tim was stabbed multiple times in the abdomen by Alma with a fruit knife. Alma was imprisoned for intentional homicide. Tim survived after emergency treatment. However, he will have to live in a nursing home for the rest of his life and will never be able to live like a normal person again. Learning all this, I couldn't help but sigh. What, you don't feel sorry for him? My best friend asked over the phone. I shook my head, just finding it all a bit unbelievable. By the way, have you thought about finding Dana another dad? I think Hank would be perfect. At that time, I was signing the equity transfer agreement with the lawyer. Tim had decided to go abroad for recuperation and transfer his company shares to me. He also left half of his assets to Dana. I signed one contract after another, feeling the joy of my wealth steadily increasing. No, Hank and I are just business partners. With all this money and my adorable daughter, I've already hit the jackpot in life. Watching her happily blowing bubbles with her aunt on the lawn, it seems she's finally moved past that dark time. As for love, let fate decide. The day Tim left for abroad, I received a text message. Fanny, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have wavered in my marriage. The belated apology left me utterly unmoved. I silently deleted the text message. The past, both good and bad, should remain there forever.